Coming up this Friday on the latest edition of New Japan Strong, which you could see on NJPWworld.com, you're going to get to see the debut of a wrestler that you probably know, but you haven't seen in a long time. While he's a familiar face, he's not a familiar name. Is that a riddle wrapped in an enigma? Well, Fred Rosser is our guest. And as we get, of course, the fans get the chance to see you, Fred, it is great to see you once again, my friend. How excited are you for your New Japan Strong debut coming up this Friday?
Well, first and foremost, Kevin Kelly, you're an OG, so I'm fanboying over this interview. You've been in the game since '91, so much respect to you. I always say, don't die with a story and you tell it. And it's always been a bucket list of mine to compete some way or another with New Japan or just in Japan in general, because I've been blessed enough to wrestle all over the world, but I've never got a chance to do Japan. So it's always been a bucket list of mine to compete in New Japan. And, my story it's real as it gets, you know what I mean? It's not a storyline. It's not a gimmick. Lance Hoyt is a good friend of mine, and it was back September 2019 that I ran into him at a show in Pomona, California. And at the time he was with New Japan, and he gave me this flyer right here about a show New Japan Pro Wrestling was doing at the Globe Theater in November 2019. And he gave this to me. And me and Lance, we go back way back to 2010 in developmental, and fast forward to this show. I attended. The bell time was 7 p.m. I was there 5 p.m. to meet all the New Japan Pro Wrestling stars, and to kind of see if I belong there or not. So I watched the show from beginning to end to see that question was going in my head over and over again. Do I belong here? Do I fit in with New Japan? And after the show was done, the answer was yes. And I stayed in contact with New Japan, and I showed them that I wanted to try out, do whatever it takes, because with WWE, out of 75 guys and girls from all over the world, I beat them all out in a paid tryout in 2019 and 2009. So I'm not unfamiliar with doing tryouts. So whatever it took for me, and it was Rocky Romero that reached out to me during this whole pandemic and said, I had the opportunity for you. And I had to clear it with my family. I was like devastated because I don't want to affect my family. It was fear of the unknown. So I cleared it with a close uncle of mine who's a urologist here in LA. And he said, it sounds like a great idea. And that's when I ultimately signed on with New Japan Pro Wrestling, thanks to Lance Hoyt, thanks to Rocky Romero.
And, again, our roads, we met for the first time when we were all together there in Los Angeles, but our roads have been, parallel through all these years. And we shared how many people that we knew, from your original trainers in New Jersey to
Yes.
your journeys with ECWA and our great friend Jim Kettner, and of course our shared love for Dr. Tom Pritchard. And I know he was a huge influence on you. He always spoke very highly of you when he would get done with one of the camps or seminars where he had seen you. And he said, man, this Fred, I'm telling you, he's going to be something. And I think he was right. He's right a whole lot more than he's wrong. But it was not, my gosh, it was not an easy road for you. The name, of course, Darren Young, everybody knows that from wrestling. But just because you made it onto the main roster and you were a tag team champion and you were a WWE superstar, that did not mean the red carpet was rolled out for you on a day in, day out basis. You were always having to fight for your supper. And I'm sure that was a hard grind.
I always say my fight is much more bigger than in the ring. In all actuality, it's outside the ring, fighting bigotry and hatred and trying to be the voice of the voiceless for people that get bullied for various reasons. That's why my whole block the hate movement that I do on top of the wrestling. You know, I always say I'm just not a wrestler, but I'm a superhero that attends schools and talk to the kids about not bullying and being an important role model. Like as a kid, as an adult, I had a speech impediment. I would stutter a lot. I was an overweight kid, but I didn't let those disabilities hold me down. So it wasn't easy getting to WWE. From 2002 to 2009, I grinded on the independents, and I was a weekend warrior. And like I said, the same day I got signed was the same day AJ Lee, CM Punk's wife, got signed. So like I said, not all superheroes wear capes, and my fight don't stop till I'm 6 feet under.
The journey that you take now, we talk about a lot about this during commentary. It's almost that the wrestling at this point of your career is secondary to what you're doing in the communities and what you're doing speaking to groups. I mean, that's the wrestling might pay the bills, but the true passion really seems to come out in addition to your wrestling when you get in front of these groups and you get to speak. As somebody who came up dealing with a speech impediment and becoming this voice for the voiceless, do you see how this journey, do you see how the road that you've been put on? I mean, not a lot of people come from the obstacles that you had to overcome to be where you are now and being that voice for the voiceless. It's amazing.
Well, I mean, Kevin, I always say whether it's in front of 20 people or 20,000 people, speaking to the youth, being out there in the ring, wowing the crowd is still fun to me. And I still have a lot left in the tank. And that same tunnel-like vision that I had of chasing a dream of being a WWE superstar is like, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it, is that same tunnel vision that I had to achieve, hopefully, with New Japan. You know, not hopefully, because New Japan isn't looking for potential. They're looking for stars, you know. And, you know, outside of the ring, I'm calm, cool, and collected. You've seen me. I'm a shy guy. I'm as shy as they come. But as soon as I hit that curtain, it's turn-up time. It's go time. And like I said, you know, time is money, and I don't got much time on this Zoom. Again, the most important Zoom of my life, because why? Why New Japan? And I'm letting you guys know now.
Well, it's again, I think when the fans will see you, they'll be like, where has Fred Rosser been for all these years? And how come we haven't seen him sooner in New Japan? You completely fit in with the style. And I want to talk about some of the adversaries and the rivals that you might see down the road. But for me as a wrestler, you check all the boxes, because when you get in the ring and the bell sounds, it's not fancy.
Yes,
it's blue collar. It is hard work. It is straight effort. You're an impossible wrestler to game plan for because you do everything so well. You're not trying to go in there and wow them with high flying offense. You're there to take your opponent's best weapon away from him and exert your will on him in the ring. That's the kind of wrestler I like. And so when I see you and when I call your matches, you're going to hear some of that, because it's a little fanboy coming out from me to you, man. It's how wrestling is supposed to be. And again, a lot of times WWE matches, you know, it's a showcase. It's all offense. That's what they want. Okay, cool. But that's not necessarily what wrestling is. That house style doesn't necessarily play everywhere else. So that's where some of the disconnect when guys leave. It takes them a little while to figure it out. But I think you've got the right attitude, the right mindset, and the right physical skills to hang with anybody on the New Japan roster. So I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, hand to God, I'm getting goosebumps. It's you just lifting up my spirits and like giving me that hope that I can do it. You know what I mean? Because I'm my own worst critic. But, you know, when I think of the New Japan talent, I mean, names that ring a bell, like Dave Finlay, Rocky Romero, Flip Gordon, Kenta, Will Ospreay. I'm missing a ton of names. So those are the names that I want to get in the ring with and let them know that Mr. No Days Off is not a gimmick. It's a way of life of constant grind, struggle, and Mr. No Days Off has got one speed, and that's go.
The of course, you will see a lot of Bullet Club on these shows, and you mentioned Kenta. Kenta, of course, is the first New Japan Cup USA tournament winner. And Bullet Club has a lot of power on their side. When you look at Switchblade Jay White and Kenta and the Gorillas of Destiny and Hikuleo and Chase Owens, and it seems like they've got every base covered. I'm wondering, there needs to be adversarial forces that need to come together to try to negate some of Bullet Club's power. Otherwise, everybody on the roster, you two included, Fred, are just going to get run over in a sheer numbers game. Has there been any thought about that?
You know, September for me will be 19 years in the business, so this isn't no walk in the park for me. I've been a part of factions, you know, Nexus. I've been a part of tag teams, the Primetime Players. I was managed by Bob Backlund, you know, so I've been a part of stables and tag teams, but it's time for me in New Japan to just do things on my own. It's time for me to roll up my sleeves and put in the work, you know. If I'm gonna lose, I'm gonna go out swinging. And really, I don't lose. I either win or I learn. So my experiences in New Japan, I can tell you right now, the New Japan universe, that the best is yet to come from Mr. No Days Off. You know, I'm so excited for this debut. I'm a loss for words.
Well, we are really looking forward to it, Fred. And I know all the fans will be very excited. They've been following along each and every week on NJPWworld.com as they've gotten to see each episode unfold. And a brand new episode, of course, debuts this Friday. And Fred Rosser will be a part of it. Big things to come, my friend. That's my prediction. And I want to thank you for your time. I look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you. Block the hate and salute the great Kevin Kelly, baby.
There it is. All right, Fred Rosser. He's been our guest, and we'll see him this Friday on New Japan Strong, part of the Fighting Spirit Unleashed Tour on NJPWworld.com.